Hi, it's Deborah Cook. It is Sunday, March 15th, 2015, and I want to tell you guys to make your screen as big as you can possibly make it. Make it full screen. Um, Now, I want to cover some things that are going to be difficult for a lot of people to hear. Um, this is a post that Christopher Everard made on Feed Your Brain magazine official fan page on Facebook, and he shared it from his second Facebook page. He has a second one, Christopher Everard 2, the Roman numeral 2 there. And June 6th, 2014, he shared this. Okay. Now he writes Christopher Everard 2 added 5 photos. The Big Brother Corporation, sex lies and videotape at Her Majesty's British Broadcasting Corporation. For the benefit of our American and Canadian readers who may not understand what has been going on at the BBC, it has come to light that since its foundation, the BBC, with its first HQ headquarters at Broadcasting House near Regent Street, which is owned by Buckingham Palace, yes, the entire street, we now have a solid picture of the brainwashing and sexual grooming of children, which has been perpetrated at the license/taxpayers' expense. Okay, you can read this in its entirety if you make this full screen, or if you go to that page and you can read this in its entirety. But what I want to alert you to is this highlighted image in this particular screen grab right here. And now what Christopher Everard did was, in this particular little post that he made to Feed Your Brain magazine official fan page back on June 6th, 2014, he starts talking about all of these known pedophiles at the BBC, such as Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris, Jonathan King, Gary Glitter, Stuart Hall, and senior BBC producers and presenters and blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Then in this particular screen grab right here of this whole post that he made on Feed Your Brain magazine official fan page, and if you look at the gray area that is highlighted, you will see a paragraph right there. And I'm going to read that for you. He revealed one former Radio 1 star pal feared being the next high-profile arrest and had admitted to Death, "We didn't check birth certificates in those days." This alleged quote is probably in reference to Jonathan King, who now makes amusing musicals and parodies about the sex crime culture of the BBC. Amazingly, Mr. King's crimes pale into insignificance when we consider that Jimmy Savile abused at least 1,000 children. That's what Christopher Everard wrote. He actually wrote that this guy, Jonathan King's crimes, pale into insignificance. Insignificance? When we consider that Jimmy Savile abused at least 1,000 children. Insignificance? Really? You're going to say that this guy, Jonathan King's crimes, pale into insignificance compared with Jimmy Savile? Why? Why would he say this? I don't know. Really? Well, I know why he would say this, because he has a close connection with this Jonathan King guy, considering that Christopher Everard is good friends with a man named Paul Kevin Whiffen, or Paul Whiffen, who he just interviewed on the Turd Frequency radio show March 8th. And if you want to go get the podcast of that, you can hear it for yourself. And he admits to knowing this guy for years and years and years. And this Whiffen guy, Paul Whiffen, works with Jonathan King. And he is the one who makes these so-called amusing musicals and parodies about the sex crime culture at the BBC. And here's the audio recording of the Turd Frequency
we're
radio
now
show.
back, and my special guest for the second hour is somebody I've known for many years. And please don't tell them how long. Well, I'd have to work it out. I think we first met each other in 1979. Yes, but I just want to say to all of our Canadian and our American listeners here on truthfrequencyradio.com. And by the way, if you are one of the many people that stumble on the podcast and have never sort of come across any of the subjects which we regularly discuss on this program, go to the download section at truthfrequencyradio.com and educate yourself, because you can download MP3 files of lots of our shows with previous guests discussing things like European politics. But because you might be listening to us in Canada or America, don't think that just because we're discussing European politics and the European superstate, this is not relevant to you. It is. Because the same people who are running the European superstate from behind the scenes have also got a huge amount of influence in the USA and Canada. Now, my special guest is Mr. Paul Whiffen, and Paul has been a member in the past of the UK Independence Party, which is most famous for having its member, which is Nigel Farage. Paul, can you hear me nice and clear?
Fairly clearly, yes. There's a few little echoes, but nothing that we're not used to on the internet.
Okay. Now, if you get any echoes, you just turn down your speakers or whatever.
Did you hear that? Okay, that was Christopher Everard interviewing a friend of his who he says he was friends with since 1979, a man named Paul Whiffen, also known as Paul Kevin Whiffen. All right? Now, Paul Kevin Whiffen works for Jonathan King. And Jonathan King, and you can Google that if you don't believe me. Google Paul Whiffen, Paul Kevin Whiffen, and you will see that. And you'll see that, another weird thing is if you look at Paul Kevin Whiffen's bio, or Paul Whiffen's bio, you're going to see that there's a lot of similarities to Christopher Everard's bio. I think he actually stole some stuff from this Whiffen guy's bio, and he used it in his own. Stuff like the Cannes Film Festival, because Everard has never been to the Cannes Film Festival. Never. Not once. Not once. But Jonathan King, let's see. Right here, Christopher Everard says, amazingly, Mr. King's crimes pale into insignificance. Do they? Let's look at this. Right here. Jonathan King. This is from Wikipedia. It says right here, the investigation led to King's prosecution, which for case management purposes was split between 3 trials at the Old Bailey. King denied the charges, but in September 2001, he was found guilty in the first of the trials of 4 offenses of indecent assault, 1 of buggery, and 1 of attempted buggery against 5 boys aged 14 and 15 during the 1980s. Then it goes on to say, right here, 2 months later, he was sentenced to 7 years imprisonment for those offenses. In sentencing him, Judge David Paget, or Paget, QC, said, "You used your fame and success to attract adolescent and impressionable boys. You then abused the trust they and their parents placed in you." Shortly before he was sentenced, King was acquitted in the second trial. The prosecution had offered no further evidence after the alleged victim admitted during the trial that he was probably 16 at the time of the alleged offenses. The prosecution has been unable to prove that the sex was non-consensual. The prosecution then dropped the charges in the third trial. Okay? Right here, up here, it says, as a result of this appearance, 27 men came forward to make similar allegations. Surrey police subsequently revealed that their investigation covering the years of 1969 to 1989 had found that King had approached 10,000 to 20,000 boys, ostensibly to question them for research. Research right here. See that? Research. Which the police said was a device to get the boys and start speaking to them and grooming them for his purposes. Research. Yeah. Research is real big with these people, isn't it? Research. They're all researchers, aren't they? Yeah. Um, now, if you go back to this right here, basically, Christopher Everard pretty much said, amazingly, Mr. King's crimes pale into insignificance when we consider that Jimmy Savile abused at least 1,000 children. Right here. What did it say? That King had approached 10,000 to 20,000 boys. Yeah, read this on your own. Yeah, and if you want to find this Feed Your Brain magazine official fan page post made by Christopher Everard's second Facebook page, you can Google Christopher Everard and Jonathan King's name together. Christopher Everard, Jonathan King, and it'll pop up right there, and you can see it for yourself in all its glory right there. So, yeah, Christopher Everard is basically saying that a pedophile's crimes pale into insignificance. Why? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because he's friends of a friend of Jonathan King? Could that be it? I don't know. Could there be more? I know. Do you? Yeah. Think. People, think. Where better, if you are a criminal, than to hide in something called the truth movement or the conspiracy movement, where if anything goes public about you, you can then scream persecution. And that's what Christopher Everard does all the time. He says that crazy cult members are after him, and he's getting death threats, and he's being persecuted for the types of subjects that he covers. Really? Really? Why did he flee the UK? Why did he flee France? And why did he flee Spain? Think about that. Yeah. Okay, I want you guys to stay safe out there, stay safe on the internet, and stay away from these types of deviants. All right? I just want you to be safe. And you really don't have to read between the lines on this. You just have to fucking read. Okay? And you have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.